Good morning, peeps. Today, our guest is Rob Milner, the founder of Portsmouth Force.
I'm an accounting technician, DJ. I'm in Portsmouth Force, Neon Numbers, Croxtons, History, dropshipping. I'm just a doer. So I worked for 17 years and I loved every minute of it. I kind of didn't feel that I wanted to be an employee anymore. I said to my wife, if we're going to do this, there's no half measures. We've got to go all in. Something had happened in Portsmouth and there really wasn't much basketball happening, but it was just like one team of girls. There wasn't like a place where beginners could go and play. So I put our heads together and said, let's get more kids into basketball. We're now across, like I say, with Highbury College, we're now at Portsmouth College, we're at Admiral Lord Nelson, Frank Community Centre. We've got 15 to 20 committed coaches.
So like, obviously you've got family, you've got work, you've got this, you've got that. Do you ever have time for yourself, or is that the whole thing, time for yourself?
Family is the first. I think there's no point sitting back or wishing you'd done something.
So yeah, Rob.
How you doing?
I'm doing alright, mate. So yeah, no, we're here. Thanks for inviting us and having us, and thanks for being a guest on the show. So obviously you don't really know a lot about it. What's happening today?
Feels surreal. Yeah. No, I don't know a lot about what's going on.
No, that's good. Okay, so like a tradition we have here now is I'd like to give you a massive introduction and all of that, but then I usually just want to bring us down to earth and then say, in a nutshell, who is Rob Milner?
Okay. Sounds like it should be an easy question, doesn't it?
Well,
I've got this really corny tagline on my Twitter. It's like father, accountant, basketball coach, DJ. I think that's kind of what I am. That sort of sums up what I do.
happy days. All right, so cool. Let's take it back to the beginning then.
Okay.
So, whereabouts did you grow up?
I grew up locally, really not far from where we are now. I've always lived in Portsmouth. I was born in Sherborne, which is in Dorset. But I don't remember living there, so I remember Portsmouth. I think I moved to Portsmouth like 9 months old, a year old. Okay. And yeah, I went to St Luke's School in Portsmouth College, which is just up the road. Yeah. And I haven't left Portsmouth all my life, and I love it. I think it's the best city in the world.
Oh, fair. And what do you think always keeps you here then? What is it for you?
So family's probably the biggest tie. So I was really close to my grandparents, close to my parents, and my brother and my wife's family are close. And I think once you've got family ties, sometimes that makes whatever city you live in home. Yeah. So, and once you've got those ties, you're kind of stuck with it, aren't you? And I wouldn't want to change it. I did sort of half look at emigrating 25 years ago before my kids were born. Nice. But again, family keeps you tied down.
It does. It really does. Okay, so school then. How was that for you then? How was always school for you? Did you like school? Did you enjoy it?
I didn't necessarily like my junior and infant school. Okay. I didn't have the best of times. Not badly. I enjoyed it, but I didn't want to go with all of my friends to Mayfield where they all went. I just wanted a bit of a change. So I went to St Luke's in town.
Oh, really? What?
And it was almost like a little bit of a reinvention, a restart, and I loved it. Really, I love St Luke's. It wasn't a particularly good school. I think it's a much better school now. I think I can't remember what it's called now. Charter Academy.
Oh, it's Charter.
Charter, yeah. So Charter now. It used to be called St Luke's. It was Church of England school.
Okay.
And it was one of those ones that was top of the league for truancy. Not particularly good, but I thrived. I did all right. Yeah, got good grades out of it. And I think school is if you try hard and you work hard and you've got good teachers, you'll achieve wherever you go.
Yeah. So what was your favourite subjects then, I'm guessing?
Well, I liked playing basketball. I liked English. I didn't really like maths. I've turned into an accountant, but I didn't really like maths. I was good at maths, but I didn't really like maths. I just liked all the school. I just liked the school aspect. I like the social side of school.
Oh, interesting. So, okay, that's taking you through school. So that's junior school?
Yes.
So then we've gone into secondary school?
Yes.
And that's when you said you reinvented yourself?
Well, kind of. Yeah, it was, yeah, absolutely. Secondary school was kind of like, right, okay. I think underneath it all, I'm probably quite shy. I don't maybe going to come across shy, but I was at a junior school level. And when I went to senior school, I tried to be a bit more slightly more extroverted.
Interesting. How'd that go for you?
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
Sometimes you've got to force yourself into things, hence being here and doing this.
No, I've word. Okay, so cool. You've gone through secondary school. You said you like basketball.
Yes.
So have you always played basketball? Was that your
So
go-to
I
sport?
started playing basketball in middle school. I've always been tall. I'm 6'3", and I was tall really, really young. So I was tall at sort of like 11, 12 years old. So I started playing basketball with my friends there. And what happened with the progression into basketball was there was a Saturday morning club at Mountbatten Centre. All the local kids used to go. And then as you progress through, you get into senior school. And once you're in senior school, it's becomes part of your life. And you know, when you're a teenager, you end up having a thing.
Yeah.
So some people become like whatever, a rock kid or an emo kid or a basketballer or a footballer. You have to have something.
To have a thing, yeah.
And basketball was my thing.
Interesting. So that sort of led you through school and teenage years. That's
Yes.
cool.
Yeah.
So cool. We're going through school. How were your grades then at the end of school?
Grades are fine.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, grades are okay.
Decent.
Yeah, I got some A's, some B's, and C's.
Yeah.
I got a ungraded in one of my classes, but that was everyone has a failed subject.
Everyone does.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously.
There's a story there. Long story short, messed around, set fire to a table, got suspended, wasn't allowed back to the class.
Oh, wow.
couldn't get my grades,
enough.
but never mind. All the core subjects, the important subjects, I did well in English,
Was
maths,
it DT?
science. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was DT. Yeah, it was DT.
Good times. Good times. So cool. So that led you on to Portsmouth College then?
Yes.
Was you always going to go to college, or was you always like, I might just go?
No, I always was going to go to college. I think really, I wish I had gone to uni.
Interesting.
I wish I had.
never went to
but
uni?
I didn't go to uni. No.
What was the reason then?
Money.
Oh, interesting.
Money. I got to when I left Portsmouth College, I wanted to get a job with cash in.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to do was get a job with cash. And my accountancy career started from an advert in the paper that said, "Do you wish to earn X amount of money? Phone this number." So I phoned that number, and it was a recruitment agency for accountants.
Okay.
A place called Accountability.
Okay.
So I turned up, sat in for the interview, and I didn't actually know what the interview was for, but the interview was for college leavers to get jobs within accountancy.
Okay.
So then they got me an interview at a place called Barter Durgan in Southsea. I got the interview, got the job, and then I was like, oh, do I want to be an accountant? I was like, well, okay, let's try it. And haven't looked back. It was brilliant. One of the best things I ever did.
Wow. So that was accounting. So was that the beginning of your sort of journey into your other ventures? Or so what was that then? What did that mark for you?
Yeah, so the accounting side was, at that point in my time, my life, 17 years old, how do I get paid, basically? Now, looking back, and I would not tell my kids this, I want them to go and get the uni qualification. And I tell my kids to try and get that uni qualification because it will give you a leg up to get paid more, in effect. So I wanted that money instantly, but I wish I had gone to uni looking back, but no regrets. Now, with the accounting side, what it does, all accountants are exposed to so many different businesses, and your eyes are sort of lifted up, and you're kind of tipped in to go, oh, look how much money this person in this industry makes. Who'd have thought someone who did this could make that amount of money? You don't actually know what's going on. But accountancy and practice accountancy, you're exposed to so many different businesses. You can see lots of different opportunities.
Okay. So is it like accountancy? I remember because I remember studying law, and it was like, you've got criminal law, you've got business law, you've got all these types. Is that what accountancy was like then? Have you got that sort of accounts, these sort of accounts?
So in terms of, you'd be doing accounts for a butcher's, and then for a musician, and then for a sportsman, and then for a tool shop, and then for a software engineer, and you actually see what the different industries do. So that's kind of what the eye-opener is. So it's more of a case of going, how, and not only, so a good accountant will go, how do you run your business? How can I help you run your business from a financial side? A bad accountant will take your numbers and go, here's your profits, this is what this is what your tax is. So that's not what we're doing. We're actually looking to try and help businesses and look to see what businesses do, analyse the business, make a decision and try and help best we can. Now, obviously, we don't know. I don't know corners that software engineers can cut. I don't know how to software engineer. But I do know that there's different ways that they can pay themselves for salary and dividends. I do know different expenses that can be claimed, when to buy certain things, when not to buy certain things. So
Interesting.
yeah,
Interesting. So cool. That's your core.
that's my goal.
So that's your core, and I guess going through then, because obviously you've got all these things going on.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to get here is, when was the point that you thought, you know what, or how can I say, what was your first venture outside of your core?
Okay, so music, I started DJing when I was at school. I used to do anything to buy vinyl records. So I used to, actually it's funny, it's all kind of related. So from basketball, I had a really good mate called Matt Smythe, really top mate. And we were, I was talking about cultures of what you do, whether you're a basketball player or an emo or a rocker or a cricket kid or whatever it is. Everyone's got their little niche when they're little. I was into hip hop with Matt Smythe.
Okay.
Really into hip hop. Everything was sort of Cypress Hill, Public Enemy, all that sort of like early 90s and 90s hip hop. Still love it. Now, Matt also had some raving friends and used to go to, he's a couple of years older than me. Well, a year older than me, used to go to Fusion and Hardcore Heaven and One Nation, all these different raves and things. So I started going to the raves. Okay. Once I started going to raves, I realised that I wanted to be a DJ as well.
Interesting.
So at school, I was doing anything I could to buy vinyl records, selling my lunchbox. I'd get my mum to give me certain biscuits so I could go to school, to sell those biscuits, to get cash to buy records, to build up my record collection. And then once you start DJing, there's only there's two avenues. You either do it, this is recreational, and I'm just going to DJ in my bedroom for myself to have fun, or you actually go, I quite like this, how can I use this to play out in front of a crowd? If you're playing out in front of a crowd, then technically you make money. So my first venture was with my best friend Russell. Out we went, rented a pub, got the decks out, sold tickets, got everyone into the pub, and that's how my sort of venture into promotion and drum and bass raves started off. And that was the real key to actually going. People have said the word entrepreneur, so it's very hard to tag yourself with that.
Yeah.
I think most entrepreneurs, if I am an entrepreneur, I'm just a doer. I'm just, let's do this, let's do that, let's try this, let's try that. So the first try was, let's rent a pub called the Tut and Shive in Southsea. Nice. It was called Vibe Supplies with my, no it wasn't. Stylus was the first night we tried, just me and Russ, and I think another guy called Ed, and then my friend Harry. There was loads of people involved, loads of moving parts, but that was the first venture to try and make money.
Okay, and you were how old at that age?
17, 18.
Mad. And how did that make you feel then, when you was actually sort of playing a set in front of a crowd? How
It's the best. Yeah, the best feeling. Yeah, when you're confident and you know what you can do, talent-wise, if you've got that charisma and you're confident, then it's the best feeling, because people, particularly back then, people were out to have a good time. I'm not saying people aren't out to have a good time now, but people are out to document a good time and film a good time and take their mobile phones out. Back then, everyone was just out to party. Yeah. So it was great. So if you could get behind the decks, and the night used to be, we'll go and play in a pub, or we'll go and play at a rave, or we'll go and do whatever you, and then we'll take our record box to someone else's house and we'll go and have a set at their house till the early hours of the morning. And it's that whole culture of just going out and having a good time. But yeah, it's a buzz.
What year was this then?
So this would have been 96.
The 90s.
96 maybe. So most of my drum and bass raves and promoter was sort of like 96 through to about 2003, 4, something like that.
Oh yeah. And what did it feel like going out in front of your first crowd? Did they sort of buy it straight away, or was it quite
this is real DJ talk. The first crowd is 3 or 4 people. Yeah. So it's hard to know when your first crowd is. So the biggest crowd I ever played at was about sort of 1,500 people, around that sort of number. Wow. That feels bigger, but sometimes it feels less intimate because you're on a big stage. Yeah. So you don't really feel what's there. So whereas, the hardest ones are not the hardest ones, the tighter ones, when you're in a real packed room, so maybe 60, 70 people, and you're all sort of very, very close.
Okay. Okay. And did you always stay together as like a group of lads or your mates?
Yeah, my mates are still my mates now. Yeah, I think that's quite important. But there's new mates that have come along the way, absolutely. But I think it's quite key to have a close-knit group that you can trust.
Yeah. And did you all like stay together on the DJ and
No, not all of us. Myself and Russell. So the two of us are with DJ for 30 years together now. So
fair enough. That's cool, man.
Yeah, it's good.
Decent. And what's the biggest venue you played at then?
So we used to hire out the Plaza Suite, which is, so you know the pyramids in Southsea?
Yeah.
If you look at the pyramids, the building on the right, which is not really used for anything now, I'm not sure what it's used for at all.
Okay.
I don't know if it might be a gym.
I think it is a gym,
It's the big pyramid one on the right-hand side.
Like
so if you look at it used to be the swimming pool on the left.
Yeah.
Or the swimming pool in the middle, there's a little one on the left, and the big one on the right-hand side of the big pyramid. We used to hire that out once a month.
Once a month.
And we had huge crowds in there. And at one point we were doing it every month. My night was called Vert. We were doing that every month for a year or so.
Class.
1,000 people plus.
Class.
Nice and easy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Decent.
Yeah, well, and we had all, and we what's called Moonshine now, which is called Harry Limes when we were younger.
Okay.
We started there. When we only started to go to the pyramids because Harry Limes was too small for us. Yeah. So we had one night we had Groove Rider down, and I don't know if you know the building where Moonshine is. Used to have a strip bar at the back called Elegance.
Yeah. Is it still open?
I don't know.
Seen it.
I'm not sure if it's still open, but they had a shutter, and the shutter internally was between Harry Limes or Moonshine and Elegance, and we had so many people queuing up for Groove Rider to come down. They were queuing up all the way around the corner. The club owner at the time, like, oh, just put the shutter up, just get the people in. So we put the shutter up, and we had to have like 300 people in. It was absolutely insane rave, really, really good.
Class. I mean, okay, so cool. That's basically a hobby that you sort of turned into sort of profitable, really.
Yes.
That's class.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So cool. So when you became an accountant, you was DJing as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah, and my to be fair, the other thing that's so good about where I worked, Barter Durgan in Southsea, is I had a boss there, Keith Green, he's brilliant. And I had a boss that I could be totally open with.
That's good.
So it wasn't sort of like I was like snaking off and DJing or whatever, or like doing another business, had another income. It's like, Keith, I'm going to do a pub night and DJ on Friday. Oh, that's good. He's excited. I said, can I use a photocopier to print some posters? He's like, yeah, go on, off you go. So like in my lunchtime, I'd print posters on the work. Then I was like, I'm just mopping out. In my next lunch break, I go and put posters up around Southsea. Like I had a boss that I was really close with who'd allow me to do different bits and bobs. And
he made the dream like beach.
Well, he's just a nice guy. He was just that happy to actually go and let people be people.
No, I get that. Would you say that you've sort of carried that work ethic? Would you say you kind of had him as an idol?
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, absolutely. If you let people just be who they are and don't try and force square pegs in round holes and just, like, embrace everyone is ever so slightly different. Some people, like, working really hard first thing in the morning. Some people are just always going to be a little bit late. Some people are always going to be, everyone's got a different skill. Some people are brilliant in front of people. Some people are less than brilliant in front of people, but they're brilliant on their own and producing numbers or doing things. So, as a boss, that's definitely what I do.
Interesting. Well, good stuff.
Yeah.
So cool. We're DJing. We're doing accounting.
Yep.
Where was the next step for you then?
So the next step after DJing and accounting was I kind of didn't feel that I wanted to be an employee anymore.
Okay. What how or why?
So partly money, partly ideology, and just dynamic and just the time of life. So I worked for 17 years at my accountancy
stuff.
The first place where I trained, and I loved every minute of it. But when you come to an end of life, it was nothing personal. I'm still really good friends with everyone there. Just had to move, and I had to be. I think I realised that me personally, I didn't want to be an employee anymore.
Yeah. No, I get that. I do get that. And then that was when you started on your own?
So that's when I started on my own.
Okay.
I started kind of almost like where that camera is there was a desk. And that's where I started one desk.
Okay, yeah.
And then we converted some rooms out there into an office. And then I took on another couple of members of staff. And I moved to a shop over the road. and I've managed to move to an even bigger shop. And it's just that's where the journey went. It started really small. It was literally one man and a computer.
Yeah, I was going to say. So how was it then? So you left. You started one man and a computer.
Yep.
And then talk me through that. How was that? Was that nerve wracking? Was that
it's
scary?
Yeah. It's really really scary, particularly when you've got bills to pay, mortgage to pay.
Yeah.
And at that time, kids to feed, and all the things that go with it. And it was kind of right. Okay. If we are going to do this, this is me talking to my wife, if we're going to do this, there's no half measures. We've got to go all in and try and put all our effort in to try and get that income up. And we haven't stopped yet.
Wow. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you. I'm really proud of it. Yeah, Neon Numbers, I started, and it literally started with a, what do I want my accountancy practice to be? Because I'm not chartered. I'm not a chartered accountant. I'm trained to be chartered. I'm an accounting technician. The main reason I didn't want that corporate audit, high level accountancy practice, that's not what I wanted to be. I wanted to be servicing real small businesses, making a difference to little ventures and local work, not really dealing with big corporate audit work. And so I didn't want to be called whatever. Flower and Milner or associates this. So we just took two words, Neon Numbers, threw them together. One of my friends who's a hip hop DJ in Portsmouth, Gentle Bren, come up with a logo for me.
Oh, class.
Put that all together, and here we are.
Mad. Well, congrats. Honestly, hats off. I mean, so we'll stop there a bit then. So you said you always wanted to sort of look out for smaller businesses.
Yes.
Instead of like big corporations or whatever. Why do you think that is? Or
I think probably because I can relate more to it. I think I can say, in my experience, this is what I would do, and I can advise at a more personable level. With bigger corporate businesses, you're almost script reading because I know what to do, I know how to do it, I can help them, no problem whatsoever. And accounting service is good, and when I say small has become a lot bigger than it was when I first started. So small now, we're into the millions, whereas when we were younger, small was the sandwich shop round the corner.
No, fair enough. That's understandable. Get that. Okay, so cool. You've gone on your own.
Yep.
At this point, are you still DJing?
Yep, still DJing.
Still DJing?
Yeah, I actually still do DJ.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, I still do. Yeah.
So you still do like one event here and there?
Yeah, I don't do any more promotion because the promotion game is really hard. So we tried parties right up to 2015, 16. We were putting on parties, but it's any dance music promoter out there, the good ones work so hard. They work so hard to get the word out, and the world's changed. So when I was promoting, we used to go around giving flyers to people, or the student blocks were putting flyers under the door, posters up. It's now about social media and clicks and likes and digital promotion, which is a different skill, different skill set to what I've got, to be honest. But I still do DJ. I mean, I'm DJing in May, and I DJ'd about 3-4 weeks ago at a night called Therapy.
Nice.
Yeah, I still like to DJ and still like to keep my hand in.
Hard. Yeah, no, we actually spoke with sort of like a music manager, social media person who looks after artists, and he was saying exactly that. Like the hours that he works is like basically around the clock. Yeah. And was it like that at that time?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So what I used to, if I was DJing at an event in town or in a town local to me, once my set had finished, I'd leave the rave and go to another club to hand out flyers. So I wouldn't stay and enjoy the night. It was work. So you'd work, play your set, then you go and fly somewhere. Don't get me wrong, some nights were parties and we had a good time, but a lot of the time you're working because you're always thinking about, what if you took a night at the Pyramids, for example, we would spend probably, I don't know, 3,000-4,000, this is back then, so 20 years ago, £3,000-4,000 on DJs. Okay. And then you're hiring the club and the staff for another £2,000, and your advertising is what, £500 or something. They're spending £5,000 or £6,000 to put on a party, and then you've got 1,000 people coming in. So you're charging a tenner. You need to get 600 people in before you've even made any money. Yeah. So there's a lot of risk there, and we had bad events, and all promoters do. We had ones where we lost money. Yeah, they're not very nice nights.
So now I can imagine
you can lose a lot of money really quickly in the promotion game. if you don't do it well.
Hit and miss, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's valid. Fair enough.
Yeah.
High risk. Yeah, that sounds scary. What could you tell us your biggest loss, or could you tell us like that time when you was
we had a series of events at the Glass House in the Pyramids, myself and Russell, and we decided the offer was there to have it every week, so we took it every week for a couple of months run, and it was too saturated.
Oh really?
And we lost a good amount of money over those few events, £10,000 plus over those, and we were young guys then, so it wasn't an easy amount of money to lose.
Yeah,
but you've got to take a risk sometimes. If you don't take a risk, you never know where it's going to go.
Nice. Okay, so cool. We're DJing, working at this time Neon Numbers. So other ventures then. So what direction did you take it from there? Because obviously you said you got your hand on all these different parts because you got all this exposure to all these other businesses.
Yeah.
What was the next step for you then?
So the basketball always ticked along in the background.
Okay.
But I stopped basketball a lot while my kids were really young, and also when I was partying and DJing. They kind of don't, the early morning basketball sessions don't go with the late night DJing. They just don't mix. So there was sort of a little gap in the middle. Then when my eldest got to be 8 or 9, I was like, right, let's get her back to basketball. Let's go and see my old coach, go see what's going on. And something had happened in Portsmouth, and there really wasn't much basketball happening.
Okay.
There just wasn't. There was one guy, Simon, who's lovely, running a really good team, but it was just like one team of girls. There wasn't like a place where beginners could go and play. So I took my daughter to go and see Simon with this girls team, and she fitted in, and it was brilliant. And then Simon and I sort of put our heads together and said, let's get more kids into basketball. And that's kind of where it started. He'd been doing it with a guy called E-Man slightly before I came around, just trying to, but then I kind of grabbed it by the balls, I feel, and really started pushing Portsmouth basketball back on the map.
Crazy, yeah.
And so Ellen is now 18, so this is 10 years ago, and within sort of 3 years we'd established like a real club culture again. We'd had kids from 3, 4, 5, 6 all the way up to 18 playing basketball, girls and boys, and that's just culminated in what is now Portsmouth Force. Okay. And we've got a new link coming with Highbury College. Is huge. Is the basketball now is really, really, that's probably my almost my proudest little bit really in all of it. I'm proud of Neon Numbers massively, because that's the bread and butter, and it takes a lot to build a business that big from scratch. But the basketball club is slightly different because it's a community. The basketball club is, can you help me do this? Can you help me do this? Who wants to get involved? And all of a sudden, it's not necessarily a leader, but just a instigator. Just like, let's try this, and before you know it, we've got National League comes out of our, it's brilliant. It's really, really good.
Amazing. I mean, so it just sounds like you transferred like your skills you learned when you was promoting into sort of like promoting all the basketball, really. Or just stop me if I'm wrong there, but it just seems like you transferred them skills into that, and then it's just gone from like nothing into something. Big up.
Thank you. Do you know what it is? It's kind of just going. Having that vision is one thing, because I think everyone has that vision. Yeah. And I say this to my kids actually. It's a phrase I said to my kids, like, don't come to me with a problem. Don't come to me with a problem. Come to me with a solution. Like, it's pointless coming to me with a problem. So I quite often have people going, do you know what the problem is? We haven't got anywhere to train on a Tuesday or whatever. That would be an example. And I'm like, okay. But every now and then a coach will come along and go like, I'm going to book this sports on a Tuesday because we've got nowhere to train. And it's just that flipping mindset where some people come along and go, I'm going to do this. And we're now blessed with a pool of coaches in our club that are actually proactive and going, right, I need to sort this, I need to sort that. Because it is a community. It's actually changed. Last March I changed the legal structure of the club to a community interest company, which means it is not for profit. It's just run for the interest of the community. It's not run to put any money into my pocket or anyone's pocket. It's just there to promote basketball.
Class.
And it's really, really, really something. And we've just agreed a deal with, we're in the throes of agreeing a deal, signed the paperwork with Highbury College to have a home basketball court now. So Portsmouth Force will have a basketball court where kids can play 6 o'clock till 10 o'clock, Monday to Friday. Like really emphasise basketball culture. And going back to when I was saying when you were younger, you were either a basketball kid or an emo kid or a DJ or a rocker or all those sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Now you can actually go, right, okay, I am a basketball kid. Where do I go? I go to Highbury College.
Yeah, class. Yeah, so from the beginning then, of actual starting this Portsmouth Force, was it always called Portsmouth Force?
Nope.
Okay.
No, it wasn't always called. So it was called Portsmouth City Basketball Club.
Okay.
And it's always been called Portsmouth City Basketball Club. And that's what it is registered under at Basketball England. And it's been that for years under my old coach and Portsmouth legend, Mick Burton. He passed away last year. And he was Portsmouth basketball for decades, like as far as I can remember. So when I started in the 80s, he was my first coach.
Class.
And he was Portsmouth basketball, like black and white. If you thought of Portsmouth basketball, you thought of Mick Burton.
Okay.
Very good coach, achieved so many things, but you don't want the city being associated with one person.
Yeah.
You want the city being associated with a team.
True.
So on the City of Portsmouth Basketball Club, we went through and we were kind of like, we got all these teams trading under City of Portsmouth Basketball Club. We need something a bit more catchy. And like I said about being a community, we put this message out on our group chat, our WhatsApp group. We need a name. Can we give us a name? And the choice of name went on for maybe about a year, maybe 18 months of everyone going, I like this name. We were going to be called Portsmouth Admirals. We had the logo drawn up for Portsmouth Admirals and then found out there's another sports team in Portsmouth called the Admirals. Okay. So we scrapped that at the last minute and then we settled on Portsmouth Force.
Interesting.
And my brother, Tom, who's another director on the community interest company and super heavily involved, basically sealed that we will always be called Portsmouth Force, because as soon as we had the logo done, he went straight to the tattoo shop and had a big Portsmouth Force tattoo done on his arm. He's like, you can't change the name now, I've got it on my skin.
It's great. That is great. So like from the beginning of Portsmouth Force then, or from the early days, when it was called City of Portsmouth.
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's hard. It doesn't work, does it?
Yeah, no, it doesn't roll the tongue. But there weren't many numbers. No. So, like, was it year on year, like spikes, or was it like it's always been a gradual increase?
Yeah, it's year on year, and it's related to the availability of facilities and the availability of coaches.
Okay.
So, at the time, we only had one venue. We could only run one team or one session. Mm-hmm. We're now across, like I say, with Highbury College. We're now at Portsmouth College. We're at Admiral Lord Nelson, Frank Community Centre. So many venues. We've got 15 to 20 committed coaches, with more coming out the woodwork. Mm. So the sky's the limit. But it was from one session with 20 kids.
Wow.
We're looking at about, we're going to have 15 teams next year. 15 teams with 15 players in each side, and then the local. We call it Fun and Fundamentals, which is like just for kids to turn up and play. Mm. So anyone can turn up. You haven't played basketball, you can turn up and play. Maybe another, across all the age groups, another 100 kids. So we're around 300 kids a week.
Wow.
Get to play basketball. And the senior team are now involved. I started playing again after 20 years.
Nice.
Yeah.
Be careful with your knees, I mean.
It's not as much fun as I remember it. My body does not do what my brain can do. But yeah, I started playing again. But that wasn't an option. Mm. So and the league had always been around, but I hadn't really had that option to join in. So through Portsmouth Force, we've now got a senior old boys team.
Mad. So like, are they in a competitive league as well, or is it just?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All of the teams. So I've got teams in with the basketball structure. Is you have the National League. So I've got the team in the National League. So the pinnacle, the product is Portsmouth Force, which I think you came down to a game. Yeah.
Yeah, it was electric.
Yeah.
Honestly, it felt like we were in America.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm so proud of that. That's
good.
The bit, because it feels so much more professional than what goes on in the background. It's just a load of mates getting together and organising stuff. It's really, really special. So we've got the National League team, then we've got National League junior teams all the way through, and then we have called CVL, Central Venue League. Okay. So we have local league teams playing basketball, and then we have Saba, which is the local area team, which is where the old men play and the ladies play as well. Yeah,
Interesting.
it's really good. It's really, and the women's team is brilliant now because we've actually Portsmouth got a bit of a hotbed for female basketball.
Really?
It's like we don't really know. We've got a girl, Faye, who's from Portsmouth. She's in Copner. She played with Simon originally, who I mentioned before. She plays for London Lions.
Oh yeah.
They just won in Europe. Wow. So huge deal. And we've got an England player under 18 who originally trained with us. And there's a lot of good female players who have come out of Portsmouth, and that's my next big buzz is to try and re-establish girls basketball in Portsmouth. That's the next push for within the basketball world.
Class. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
And send as well. I've managed to recruit a send coach. So this is basketball for kids with disabilities that are not necessarily wheelchair basketball. So it could be partially sighted, could be autistic, could be anything that's anywhere that's less than able to play real real, that's the wrong word, full basketball. So anyone that needs a bit more attention.
Okay. Is that a big community or is it just on the rise?
Well, I think it's one of those ones that you just need to be accessible to all. Yeah. That's the point. So the point that I like about basketball is that I don't feel outside of football there's another sport that is so accessible. So, like, if you want to play tennis, you need 2 people and you need rackets, right? If you want to play cricket, you need a bat and you need a load of people. If you want to play basketball or football, you just rock up to the playground or to the field and you kick the ball around or you bounce the ball around. You can go on your own. There's only really those sports that you can do that are truly on your own. They're team sports, but it's so accessible to everyone. You can just rock up and play. So I think with basketball, if you can make it accessible, why can't it be accessible to all? So if you're heavily autistic or if you're partially sighted or deaf, there's no reason you can't really play basketball. There's no reason really that you can't. So, but there's not the avenue to do that unless people put on sessions that say you can attend this session here. You don't tend to, kids primarily in that with those disabilities may not want to rock up to the playground where everyone else is playing because it might be intimidating to them. But you find a session and you go, this sports hall is just for you. You can come in and you've got a coach who's fully qualified and works with kids like that. Then I'm all for that.
Yeah, life changing. Oh, big up.
Thank you.
Up. So cool. We've got Portsmouth Force. Been around more than over 10 years. About 10
years.
Yeah.
Well, the Force brand has been around for really, really short amount of time. 4 years.
Oh yeah.
It's been changed. It's really we've really grabbed it and gone with it. So we want a National League Div 2 team very soon. So we're National League Div 3.
Okay, yeah.
So we want National League Div 2. Wow. So we're trying to recruit sponsors, get people in, try and push for that next level player. We got some good players, don't get me wrong. We finished, we didn't win our league this year. But there's a chance we can really push on and get to Div 2 basketball. Amazing. And ultimately Div 1 basketball because Portsmouth deserves it.
Yeah. So what is your end goal with Portsmouth Force then? What do you see? What do you vision? What do you envision?
Right, so I get laughed about this all the time because you have to dream big. So we need a basketball stadium, a semi-permanent one, so it can be used for other things, but we need somewhere we can get 2,000 to 3,000 people to come and watch basketball every week. A basketball facility, that's what we need. And if you have a basketball facility like that, then you could have a National League BBL basketball team in Portsmouth that people could come and get behind. Don't think of it any different than the football team. You have the merchandise, you have all of the kits, all of the bit that go with it, you have all of the back page of the news story, you make it to be part of the city, something that the city's proud of. So everyone in the city knows about Pompey, but there's probably 1% of the city that knows about Portsmouth Force.
Interesting.
So that's where it's going.
Nice.
That is where I'd like to take it.
Nice. No, I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see
yeah, me too. Yeah.
So cool. So that's Portsmouth Force. But I heard you do more. I heard you do a lot more.
I do.
And so tell me then. So obviously you've gone Neon Numbers,
Yep.
DJing,
Yep.
Portsmouth Force.
Yep.
Where was the next one for you?
Really good friends with me have a restaurant in Southsea, and the opportunity came around to get involved with a restaurant
No, wow.
about 2 years ago, and that really excited me.
Yeah.
So I got involved with the restaurant. The thing with accountancy, and not necessarily the number side, but running the business, now it's done. It's kind of not boring, but I know what's happening. I know the growth. I know where it is.
Okay.
And part of me was like, yeah, it's an investment in Croxton's in Southsea, but the other part of me is like, that's a bit different. Let's get involved there. So I got involved there, work in the evenings and try and build that brand up. And again, like, with all of what we're talking about with Portsmouth Force, with Neon Numbers, and definitely with Croxton's, they're all really strong brands.
Yeah.
I think that really helps with business currently, and try and make sure that your brand is at the top of your industry.
Yeah.
And Croxton's is yesterday was announced as the best casual dining experience in Hampshire and the Isle of Wight by a company called Muddy Stilettos. So they're quite a big deal. So we're into the national awards in July to try and win national dining experience. So it's really good. Have you been down there?
I've never actually been in there. Like, I've walked past there, I've seen it, and I've just never popped in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will.
I feel like it's kind of a progression from my music and drum and bass and promoting world into the restaurant game.
Interesting. Do you think that... Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Yeah. What was it? Because you said it was fun, but was it... Because some people would be like, oh, I'm a foodie, or was that just the draw? Was it the vibe?
Yeah, kind of. And my business partners.
Okay.
The business partners are quite key. It's quite a unique group, actually. Whereas where I spoke about the basketball club as a community, everyone in, what can you give? If you can give something, you've got an idea, let's run with it. The community aspect works. Let's all get involved. With Croxton's, the heads that we've got at the top of the business have got such a niche skill set. So the chef is brilliant. Like, so I can't tell a chef what to cook, or I just tell him what I like and what I don't like. Yeah. He comes up with the dishes and never lets you down. They're brilliant. I'm obviously there helping with numbers and business side of the deal. One of the other guys is the brander and does all the branding and social media, and he's amazing. Like, I can't really have much input there, and the other guy is just one of the most driven guys I've ever met, and he just like gets things done. You know, if I mentioned it earlier on, if someone says you should do that or I could do that, he's already done it by the time we've spoken about it. He said, oh, well, by the way, I'll put this application in to do that, and it's just driven. So if you take those, like all those dynamics of those people, it's quite a fun business to get involved with.
Yeah, things are getting done.
Yeah, things are getting done. Yeah, absolutely. I think there's no point sitting back or wishing you'd done something.
Yeah, and I remember you saying it earlier. You was like, you're a doer.
Yeah.
And yeah, you just attracted more doers there. So it's just a group of you all doing. That's cool, man.
I've had that conversation with my wife when I come in, because most of our meetings are late eve, because Neon Numbers is the bulk of what I do. So Croxton's meetings tend to be late evening. So I come in late evening, and I come in with his wife, and she's like, "You look like you're buzzing." I said, "I am." I said, "Like, we're doing this, we're doing X, Y, Z, and things are really, really moving." So
amazing. So that's Croxton's, and that's just a fun thing to be a part of, I bet.
Yes.
And so cool. We got 4 on the go.
Yes.
I know there's more.
Yeah. I've got a like drop shipping company that I'm part of.
Oh, interesting.
With a friend, and that's just buying and reselling.
Oh, that's decent.
He's very, very clever with you know,
the whole shebang.
The whole shebang. Again, you don't get involved, so he knows what he's doing. Buy for this price, sell for this price, move it up to Newcastle, I think it goes, and then it goes off here, there, and everywhere.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's quite exciting.
I mean, my question to you then is, where do you fit it all in? So, like, obviously you've got family, you've got work, you've got this, you've got that. Do you ever have time for yourself, or is that the whole thing, time for yourself?
So, at the very, very start when we were chatting, I mentioned family, right? So, and I mentioned on my Twitter, it's like, father, it's like, family is the first bit, and that's where I do try and spend most of my time. But conversely, I hear people saying, like, if you work so hard, you're not spending time with your kids. And I see that quite a lot. Like, you're never going to get that time back. You're never going to get that. But on the flip side of it, you're also setting the perfect example. You're setting an example, going, look how driven, look what you can do, look if you do this. And I spend plenty of time with my kids and my family. So that's like my downtime. And my other one is golf. And golf.
Golfer.
Yeah, I love golf. I like turning my phone off.
Yeah.
It's like, you've probably heard it pinging away. Like, when I'm on the golf course, you can turn your phone off for 4 hours.
Yeah.
I'm not particularly good at golf, but I just like turning my phone off and being on my own or being with my mates for a bit.
Yeah, because I've heard some people get like anxiety when they turn their phone off, some business people, and you would say you're completely the opposite.
Depends what's happening in the day. Because obviously, if there's emails coming in, or there's something that needs to happen, or there's a deadline coming, then you can make you anxious to have your phone off.
Okay. No, that's valid.
They're a bit of a curse, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
I'm the phone Gestapo in our house with my wife and the kids. Yeah. They'll laugh at me when they hear this. They'll laugh because I'm always like, "Stop looking at your bloody phone. Stop looking at this." But so in my head, this is what I say to them: mobile phones in a household take away shared experiences. So when you were younger, if you sat with your mum and dad or your family or your mates, you'd be watching a telly, you'd have a shared experience. Even if that programme on the telly was a load of rubbish, you were still experiencing together that shared experience of a load of rubbish, whatever, right? EastEnders, load of rubbish, but we'll watch it together, moan about it, laugh about it. That's your shared experience. Now, sometimes I sit down and we're all sat around the sofa and we're staring at our phones and everyone's having individual experience. There's no shared experience there. So put your phones down.
It's an interesting outlook on it, really. Yeah, no, I've never really thought. Well, I've thought about that, but no, it's an interesting way to put it as well. Interesting. So, like, when you actually pick a business to get involved with, or a move, or a venture to get involved with, do you have like a certain criteria, or is it just like, what I'm feeling, let's go?
No, and I've never picked a business to get involved with ever. No, I'm a doer, and I'm also a yes person.
Okay.
So, even going back to when I was at Barter Durgan when I was training, I mentioned my boss Keith. He would say, "Can you do this?" But yeah, I can do that. I think one day I went and sat in a flat for him, waiting for a carpet to be delivered. Super boring. I think I spent 6 hours twiddling my thumbs. I think it's pre-mobile phone. Yeah. But your boss asked you to do it. I was like, "Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that." And I've always been a yes, I'll do that. Yes, I'll do that kind of guy. And I think what happens if you do that and you put yourself into situations, then opportunities come back. So if you're like, "No, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to do that. No, that's not for me. That's not for me. I won't do that." Then the opportunities don't come. So all of these business ventures or things that I'm enjoying and part of have all come to me first.
Wow.
And said, "I've got this idea. What do you think of this?" Now, don't get me wrong. I've had some come and they'll go like, "That's not for me. I can't get involved." But every now and then one will come along. Go, "Do you want to get involved with this?" And you're like, "Do you know what? That'd be really fun. Yeah, let's get involved." Nice. Oh, look, to be fair, like this, like this actual interview. No, so we met at Urbon's
office, yeah,
and we were just chatting, and then this came around, and I wouldn't have come to you and say, "Alec, I'd really love to do a podcast."
Yeah.
You come and said, "Rob, do you fancy doing this with me?" And like, yeah, okay. So that's actual case in point of how it happens.
Okay, great. No, thanks for doing it. It's
no
great.
Worries. No,
it's interesting to hear about.
But I really want part of it is, I don't want to be egotistical. I hate. I'm not. I'm certainly not. And I would hate to come across like it. But sometimes it's nice to talk about it, to have it documented.
Yeah.
Like imagine, in my head, I don't know whether this is egotistical or not. I'd love for my great grandchildren to look back and go, I wonder what great granddad Milner was like, and actually get a little bit of documented history
about what he was all about.
Yeah,
amazing. And that's like I guess that's what this is all about, really, is to do that. So cool. We've got Neon Numbers. We've got a DJ in. We've got Croxton's. We've got Portsmouth Falls.
Yeah.
We've got the dropshipping.
Yeah.
I know there's more.
There is. Yeah. Pitt Street, Undercover Skate Park is another project that I'm involved in, and and it's a really great project.
Yeah.
So kind of similar to basketball, with actually getting kids off the street, getting kids to do something. So Jacob and Jenna Skinner are the absolute driving forces behind it, and their vision was to get somewhere that skaters could go cheaply and get them off the streets and give them a home. So they managed to do a brilliant deal with the council. Steve Pitt of the council has been brilliant in what he's done.
Yeah, he's a great lad.
And they're in the Sainsbury's Commercial Road.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. So with the help of Steve Smith, who's the other director on the project with me, and Jacob and Jenna, they've come in and they've actually transformed the skate park into a venue that you can rock up, hire your skates, hire your skateboard, go up. It's brilliant. And we managed to, it's funny how different businesses work in different ways, because you wouldn't think there's much correlation between all the different businesses that I am involved with. But actually at the skate park, there's a ramp which is coloured in neon numbers colours.
Nice.
And kids skate up my neon numbers ramp. And one of our other friends hosts raves. We're in the skate park, and I got to DJ at the skate park before Chasing Status.
Nice.
So Chasing Status were down last October, so I managed to DJ before them for him, and I think he had 1,000 people in there.
Class.
Again, really, really nice project to be involved with. And I'm sure there's a way that we can align the basketball club with the skate park, so that basketball kids can come and have a break and maybe have a skate.
That'd be really interesting.
But it's a really nice project. It's a really heartfelt, community-led project, and I think the more that we do with that, as you know, without sounding cheesy, as people, and actually go, right, let's embrace the community, let's embrace this. We're not really looking to go, you know, how much bang can I get for my fiver? It's not about that. It's like, right, okay, if those kids weren't skating, or those kids weren't playing basketball, where would they be?
Yeah, that's valid. And I guess, okay, so taking us back then to the beginning when you left school and you said you wanted something to do with the money. It seems that you do like a lot with the community as well. So what would you say is more important? I wouldn't say that, but what would you say you're drawn towards more now?
So I think it's really important to be a bit selfish. So I like to get paid for things that I do, and I like money, and I like looking after myself and having what I consider nice things, and you know, I like that. But it's nice to balance it and actually go, right, what can I actually do with my time? What could I do with my money or sponsorship, all these things? How could I give a little bit back? And I'm not there's nothing wrong with donating to Greenpeace or Red Cross or Oxfam or these massive corporates. Why not? That's great. But you never really see that.
Yeah.
Like, really, I know they'll argue with me that you can, and they do so many good things, and I'm not saying they don't. But if you put your money into like a local skate park or a basketball club or a little football club or the Scouts or anything that's local, then you're actually giving something back to kids in your community.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of quite important to me.
Big. Well, no, thanks for that.
No worries.
Okay, cool. So, like, what's the next steps for you then?
Next steps is to continue to solidify Neon Numbers, because it's going. New Neon Numbers is, we're now 15 staff.
Okay.
We're a fair sized business now. I've got some brilliant team members. Growth is a challenge. Growth is a challenge always in all businesses at different levels. They have different challenges. So Neon Numbers is to solidify where we're going, really nail down what we do and continue to grow. Continue to invest in the family. My daughter's, I mentioned earlier on, she's got her A-levels coming up this year. She's looking at big results to try and get into Oxford University. She's been offered a place.
Wow.
So she needs all the time and attention in the world to help her achieve what she wants to do, and invest in the other kids and like really back them up to whatever they want to do. I do. So my son's a drummer and a guitarist and a keyboardist. And he wants to have drum lessons. So every Wednesday I shepherd him off drum lessons backwards and forwards, and dad's taxi backwards and forwards. And my daughter wanted me to get more involved actually coaching her basketball. So physically, I hadn't been coaching for a while because I've been running the business. Got more involved coaching this week, so I'm trying. So that's the next steps, family-wise. Croxton's, I'd be pretty confident there'll be another 2 or 3 Croxton's popping up at some point, because I'm so proud of the brand. I think it's really good. That should pop up. And the basketball club is, who knows? It's happening so quickly, but I do think within the next 2 years will be a NBL Div 2 side. So 2 years on that dream. And once we're in Div 2, that could really start the snowball.
Interesting.
And there's no reason why that basketball club can't be a feature in the news and a feature in, local press, and everyone know about it and actually be a real asset to the city.
Amazing. Well, no, I look forward to seeing it all.
Yeah.
And I guess to wrap it all up, where can we find you? So how can we get in touch?
How do you get in touch with me? Neon Numbers, through my Neon Numbers website. Facebook, I'm an open profile kind of Facebook, oversharing kind of guy. Message me on Facebook, jump in. I don't do Instagram, not very much.
Fair enough.
I guess there has to be a limit to how much time you can do.
Yeah.
And I don't really do LinkedIn either.
Nice. Well, now, thanks, Rob.
No worries, thank you.
And no, it's been great. It's been amazing. Thanks for coming on and telling us your story.
Thank you very much.
It's been good. All right, cool.
Cheers,
man. And this is part 2 then, Rob, of the show. And we'll just go straight through it. So throughout, we went out into the street and we asked questions about the topics that we were going to discuss, kind of. And just feel free to pause at any time if you want to comment.
Okay.
But we'll go straight in.
How do I pause?
Just the space bar.
Got ya.
I think touch the screen as well.
Yeah, you can touch the screen.
Okay.
Cool. How important is work-life balance to you?
Very important, because you can't be happy if you're not. There's no balance at all, right?
How important is work-life balance to you?
I think work-life balance is something that a lot of young people probably compromise on in order to get up and climb the corporate ladder when they're starting. And I think that's probably something I'll do as well. But I think as I get older, I'll want a bit more life and a bit less work. Once you become a bit more experienced, I think it's important. But I think to start with in my career, I'll probably work a bit harder than is probably necessary in order to just gain my footing.
Okay. One final question, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
What do you think about serial entrepreneurialism?
I mean, to be honest, I'm not entirely sure what it is. Do you?
I mean, basically, it's when you sort of run many businesses at the same time. So you've got your hands in a lot of different pots.
A bit like Stephen Bartlett then.
A bit like that. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it might be, obviously you can't be spread too thin, and there's points when you've got to delegate and make sure that the right people are running the right things, obviously. But I think it's a good thing if you get someone who can manage it and who can make a meaningful difference across multiple different points of business, maybe different avenues, different interests, sort of thing. I think it is a good thing.
Let's say you have a day job, and let's say you have a social life. Is having a social life just as important to you as your day job? Does that make sense?
Definitely, yeah. I did try working with not having a social life, and it was really depressing. So it's good to have a balance of both. Yeah.
How important is work-life balance to you both?
To me, I think it's quite important. Like, I don't think anyone should only surround themselves around their job. I think that's quite a sad life to live. I'd never want to do that.
Okay, but what if? All right, just on that. What if your job is your hobby?
I feel like there always needs to be a balance. There's always where you draw the line. So you can't be thinking your whole work is, even if it's your hobby, even if you're it's I think where it gets too far. Always. Yeah.
Because you might end up hating it if you're doing it 100% all the time.
You always need to take a break.
That's a dream, right? To have your job as your hobby.
Yeah, I agree.
And if you can make your hobby numerical, then I would think of like Premier League footballers. Do you think they think of it as work?
Yeah, they don't.
I don't know.
Yeah, no. I mean, do you see what you do as work then, or?
I enjoy what I do enough, but I know there's a cut off between work and not work. Okay. So what? But I do enjoy. I don't feel that what I do is always work, even though it is. Okay. So sometimes the Croxton's meetings, or going to see Jacob at the skate park, or the basketball coaching sessions, that's technically work. But when I'm there, I never feel that it's work. Actually, neon numbers, to be honest, I don't feel that it's work. It absolutely is. But you don't actually have that mindset of going, oh, this is work or a chore or a burden.
Nice. Okay, great.
Break out. Yeah. Just, explore what else is there.
Do you think businessmen are bad people?
I think they can be. I think they definitely are maybe more inclined to be bad people than the average person you meet on the street.
Interesting. Can you elaborate? What do you mean by that?
I think that people who run businesses become very focused on running that business, and in the process, like, have you seen Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
Hate to reference a show, but like, you can see how the focus on like making as much money as possible eventually kind of overshadows like morality and like being like a person who's making sure that everyone's okay and making sure that like, they're doing the right things. They're just like wherever it takes. And I think maybe to a lesser extent, people generally, like business owners, can kind of lean in that direction.
What are your views on?
So what a stress that made me think of in terms of growth, particularly for Neon Numbers, and saying that's grown into like 15 staff. It's not about making money always for yourself. I now think I've got 15 staff. In my head, at a bare minimum, I've got 15 mortgages to pay, or 15 rents to pay. That's what the staff have to get paid. They have to get enough to pay their rents. So you do need to make money, of course. And the more money you make, the more money you should be putting in your pocket, and everyone needs a reward for what they put in. But the stress of actually going, my bottom line to make money is not necessarily all for me. I've got 15 mortgages to pay. So I said that to Kelly and the other partners in the family. This is what we've got to do. We've got to make enough money to cover 15 mortgages this month. It's a different stress. Yeah.
Work-life balance, and how important is it to you?
I think it's really important. Do I currently have it? No. Not necessarily my employer's fault, but I think it is really important. I think for people's mental health, and the two can tie together. I mean, obviously people can use art as a way in their spare time to create that balance. So I think it all overlaps, and I do think it's all really important.
All right. So there it was. That was our questions in the street. Cool. Any thoughts?
I think when you're talking about work-life balance, it is always going to be a personable question to how that person is at that time. So you're never going to get an answer. I'll give you a totally different answer to what those guys are saying, and you would go and speak to a whatever trans who doesn't work at all, and they'll give another different opinion. Whatever it's always going to be very personal what they're doing. But I think what we're really trying to say is that where does your happiness lie? Yeah. It's about happiness. So work-life balance sort of implies to me that you don't like work, you do like life. Whereas really what we're saying is, can you be happy in life and happy in work? And if you're happy all the way through, really doesn't really matter whether you're working or not.
Interesting. That's a nice outlook on it. Yeah, interesting. I mean, yeah, no, any final thoughts on this?
No, I think that's good. I think it's just trying to make sure that, like, work is not a bad thing. I'd love to not, everyone would love to not work until they don't have to work. And then you go, well, what would you do? Yeah. If you didn't have to work and you had, forget money, if even money wasn't a thing, if you didn't have to do anything, what would you do? Like, and you couldn't answer because you don't know what it was like, and you wouldn't know what it's like until you're in that position. So it's just about finding happiness, and I thought we've all got to work to pay our bills. We've all got bills to pay. It's not this like ideological where you've got bills to pay, so you've got money. So might as well find happiness at work.
Well, that wraps that up then, Rob. You mates again, no way, darling. And yeah, man, I look forward to seeing everything that happens. Cool. Pleasure, mate. Well, thank you.